Let's wait until the YouTube session is live.
Durga, can you add Deepika to the panelist? I guess she's in the. She's
Sure,
not.
I will do that. Yeah, I will do that in a moment. Yeah, so I'm adding Deepika also as a panelist. Just give me a moment. Uh, yeah. So before we start setting up Sentry on the existing cluster, which is enabled with Kerberos, first we need to understand the architecture of Sentry. Okay, with respect to any service, you have to start with the architecture. And also, before getting into the architecture, first you need to understand the purpose of Sentry. Okay, you might have observed that you are able to launch Hive once you log into the gateway of the cluster, and you are able to create the databases uh, and switch to those databases, create tables, insert data into those tables or load data into those tables, and then you are able to query the tables or query the data from the tables. Nowhere it is taking care of any authentication or authorization. So Hive out of the box doesn't give the capabilities of using users and granting permissions to those users. If you have access to gateway node of the cluster, you can launch Hive and you can do whatever you want. Now, in a true production environment, there can be multiple users, and each user can be a business user or individual. They should be able to connect to any database in Hive, and they can do whatever they want, which is not good. So the way we can add security to Hive database is Sentry. This is the one of the most popular way of securing our Hive databases. So the purpose of Sentry database is primarily to add the uh, um, authentication and authorization capabilities to Hive databases. So once we enable Sentry, there's a concept of roles, granting permissions to those roles, and then assigning roles to the users. And based upon the permissions inherited from the roles for that user, only those tasks can be performed by that user. That being said, when it comes to Sentry, it requires a database to manage the details with respect to roles, permissions, etc., and also a web service so that the applications like Hive can connect to this Sentry as and when the things has to be authenticated or authorized. So once we get into the adding a service using Cloud Manager at a later point in time, you will understand a bit about the Sentry server. However, to set up Sentry servers, first you need to have a database. The same way we have with respect to Cloud Manager to begin with, and also the other services such as Hive, Hue also have a database, I guess. A Report Manager have a database. There are multiple services which have a database in MySQL. Similar to that, Sentry also have a database. And that database will be used to create tables to maintain the information related to authentication and authorization that is enforced by Sentry. Okay. So now Shashank will go ahead and create the database for Sentry server. You have to connect to the gateway node of the cluster. Then you have to get into MySQL as root, and then you have to take it further. Can you zoom in a bit? Yeah, it is a bit better. Zoom twice, zoom a bit more. Yeah, now it is good. So you have to launch the MySQL CLI as root so that you can create the database, grant permissions to user, etc. So in this case, we are creating the database with the database name as Sentry. You can copy paste the code from the article which I have shared with you. Okay. So there are multiple ways to create the users. You can say create user and then you can define the password for it. And then you can grant the permissions to the user, or you can directly say like this, grant all on Sentry. In this case, the Sentry after all on is nothing but the database, and then dot star. So everything on the database is granted to user Sentry. However, there is no user yet by name Sentry. By saying identified by the password, if the user doesn't exist, it will create the user and it will grant the permissions to that user. So instead of creating the user with password and then granting permissions in 2 steps, here we are taking care in 1 step. Yeah, now paste that command. So the database is created and also the user is created with the permissions. So before going further, whenever you perform any of these tasks, make sure you validate. So what you are supposed to validate, what you are supposed to do validation is come out of this as root and then try to connect as user Sentry. So MySQL -use Sentry -p. Enter the password ITversity in this case. Now you should be able to say show databases and list the databases. Okay, so you can see the Sentry database. So even though we have provided the password in readable format, as we have blocked at port level, no one can connect to the database using these credentials in this case, and hence we are okay with it for now. But if you open up the port number for MySQL, it is not a good idea to provide the password in plain text like this. Just I'm trying to explain the best practices. This is just for the exploratory purposes. For now, it is good, but in general, we should not enter the password in plain text like this. Yeah, now you can come out of this. Now we should be able to add the Sentry server using Cloudera Manager. So go to the Cloudera Manager. Okay, and then yeah, expand that add service. You can choose this entry from here. Say continue. Sometimes it is a bit slow. Just wait until the page come up. You can go back and try coming back to this page again. Sometimes if you go back and come, yeah, now it is coming up anyway. Yeah, now choose Sentry and hit continue. Let me tell you which server should be used. I think it should be big data server only, but let me confirm. Yeah, choose big data server 4 as the server, not the big data server 1. Okay. And for gateway, select everything as gateway, all the hosts as gateway. If you don't configure big data server 1 as gateway, you will not be able to use Sentry from that server. At least you have to configure big data server 1 as gateway. Okay, now hit continue. First you have to fix the database hostname. Our database is running on big data server 1. Okay, in this case the big data sorry, not the big data, but the Sentry server is being started on big data server 4, and our database is there on big data server 1. We need to ensure that the MySQL jar file is already installed in big data server 4. Okay, for that you have to log into the big data server 4 from the command prompt to make sure that the JDBC jar is installed. In our case, we have configured Hive and a few other services on Big Data Server 4 itself. At that time, we have taken care of installing the JDBC jar. We are just validating whether it is already installed or not. You can say ls-ltr and then /user. No, space /usr, not user. In Linux, the user is /usr, not user. In Hadoop, it's user. Now /share Java /MySQL star or MySQL asterisk. You can see that the connector is already installed on this machine. If you do not see the connector in this location on Big Data Server 4, then you have to make sure that MySQL connector is installed, and then you have to take it further. Now go to the browser. The username is Sentry, password is ITversity. Test connection. While setting up Sentry server, it does not actually show the properties to review. It will directly jump onto the setting up the server for you. Hit continue, and it will add this entry onto the cluster, and it will restart the required components for you. Okay, you can go through the steps what is happening here. After deploying client configuration, the next step is waiting for credentials to be generated. This is related to Kerberos. We need to have certain principles so that the environment will be stable even after Kerberos is enabled. You can expand this and understand what is being generated with respect to credentials. The above step, waiting for credentials to be generated. Okay, it is not giving us too many details, so we can move on. Also, you can see that it have created successfully Sentry database tables. You can actually go to the terminal, exit from here, connect to MySQL database Sentry, and then use Sentry. You can directly say use Sentry. First, we have to switch to the database. As of now, it is not connected to any database. Now, say show tables. So all these tables are created in that step. Okay. So these are the tables which will store the information related to roles, users, groups, etc., which actually take care of authentication and authorization on Hive databases. Now go back to the browser and click on continue. So the setup is almost done. Just click on finish. Okay, whenever you add these things, you need to ensure that there is no restart stale configuration icon anywhere. Just refresh this once again to make sure that there is no stale configurations. So now Sentry is added to the cluster. However, to use Sentry with respect to Hive, we have to take care of certain tasks, and we will get into those details. So far we have created a database for Sentry server, and then we have added service using Cloudera Manager. Now, as part of the article, the next step is to understand how to connect to Hive using Beeline, because once we configure Hive with Sentry, we will not be using Hive CLI anymore, and hence we have to be very comfortable using Beeline to connect to Hive databases. I hope you have created the retail functional user or some other functional user in your case. Have you created this retail functional user?
I'm not sure. I have to check.
Yeah, so you can check. Get into the terminal, come out of this. Okay, say sudo space su space hyphen space retail. So you haven't created it. So let me give you the instructions to create this retail user real quick. Okay. So here I'm going to the material. Just give me a moment. I will share the details with you. I will share in the Zoom chat. You have Ansible setup, right?
Yes,
Shashank?
Ansible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get into that setup cluster folder or whatever name you have given. Okay. And then I'm sharing the command with you in Slack, not in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
Retail. This is nothing but create retail on all hosts. You haven't got it yet? Yeah, now you got it. So it will take care of creating the user on all the hosts in the cluster.
I have to change some. My inventory file name is different, so I have to change it first.
Okay.
Oh.
So what you do is you hit Control C here. Yeah. So now you have to go back. Yeah, Ansible. What is this host1.yml? Why you are giving that host1.yml?
Because I've created the inventory file in YML format, so it's already there.
Okay,
The
okay, got
password
it.
and
Yeah.
everything is there.
Hyphen become
Okay.
or hyphen b. You can say hyphen b also. Yeah. Okay, now the users seem to be created. You can validate by saying ID retail on Big Data Server 1 because it is supposed to be created on Big Data Server 1 also. Okay, now the user is created on all the hosts in the cluster. This is required whenever you want to create a functional user uh, in Kerberized environment. You have to create the user on all the hosts in the cluster, not just in the gateway node of the cluster. Okay. Now the next step is you have to generate a key tab file for this user so that you can work in this Kerberized environment. Otherwise, if you just start Hive or even run Hadoop fs-ls commands, it will not work. So how to do that? You can actually connect to KAdmin remotely. You don't need to go to the KDC directly. No, there is no need to go to the KDC. Uh, However, first connect to the KDC, then we will come back to that. Connect to the KDC and then run sudo kadmin.local. Then run list prints command to list the principals. So you have Shashank Patel /admin at clvy.com. So we will be using this one to actually connect remotely into KAdmin. You don't need to come here and run kadmin.local all the time. Exit from here now. You can copy that Shashank Patel /admin so that we can use it. You can exit from the KDC and then say kadmin space -s, the server on which kadmin is running, which is nothing but KDC in this case, and then space -p principal name. Paste whatever is copied and hit enter. Enter the password for this principal. Now, okay, you have given incorrect password. No, you are giving incorrect password. You have to recollect the password. Otherwise, you can delete and add it again. So go to KDC now. Sudo kadmin.local. Okay, I think there's a command to change the password. Just type question mark and hit enter. So the command is cpw. Change underscore password or cpw to change the password. So come out of this, then say cpw and then the principal name. You can paste it and hit enter. Now you can change the password. You don't need to give the old password, you just give the new password. Okay, now you can exit. And then don't run directly from here. Sudo to retail, because we are trying to create a key tab file for retail user. It only retail user should have access to that key tab file. Sudo su retail, sudo su space hyphen space retail. Yeah. Now you can say mkdir key tabs, just to create a folder for the key tabs. So we are creating a folder for the key tabs. Yeah, key tabs. And then we can say the kadmin -s kdc, and then -p, paste the principal name. Now enter the password. Now you can say add principal or add prink, sorry, add prink space the principal name, which is nothing but retail. However, we want to use the key tab. So -rand key, because it's a functional user. We should not be using the password for functional users. Yeah, I think you let's try it out whether it will be able to create or not. Hit enter. I'm not sure whether you have to. Yeah, it is not allowed. So you have to say add prink -rand key retail. You have to delete the retail at the beginning. Okay, hit enter. And then either you have to use xst command or kt add command to generate the key tab. So you can use kt add space -k to pass the path of the location for the key tab file. -k. No,
K.
you have to give -k, and then you can give fully qualified path /home /retail /key tabs, and then you have to give the key tab file name also. So typically the stand is the username.keytab, which is nothing but retail.keytab, and then you have to give the principal name after space. So type a space and then give the principal name. Okay, hit enter. Typically when we create principals for functional users like retail, we create a key tab file on the server from which we want to provide the access. We should not be providing access from all the hosts on the cluster for users like retail. To understand based on the principal names, we typically give the host name also when we create the principal. We should say, as per the best practices, retail /big data server -1 dot whatever the host name is, rather than just saying retail@clvby.com. For now you can leave it, but the best practice is to specify the host name also, because we want to restrict the access for the user from a given host. We will not be opening up access from all the hosts. So even though the retail user is there on all the hosts now, as the key tab file is only available on this host, from the other hosts, as retail user, you will not be able to perform any task in the cluster. Okay, now you can quit from here. And then you can validate by running kinit command using that key tab file space -k. No, no, you can't because we are trying to use key tab. So -k space -t, or you can say -kt also. Okay, yeah, -t, then the key tab file location, which is nothing but /home/retail/key tabs. Yeah, you can hit tab, it will autofill. Hit tab. Yeah, and then give the principal name, which is nothing but retail@clvy.com. Hit enter. Yeah, now you can validate by saying klist. First, let us see whether retail will be able to launch Hive or not. So just type Hive. So you are able to launch the Hive without any issue. You can come out of it. You will be able to create the databases, tables, and all those things. But for now, you are able to use Hive. However, once we configure Sentry with the Hive, we should disable access to Hive CLI for regular users like retail. Okay, and we will see how to restrict access to Hive CLI. If you restrict access to Hive CLI, then how should this user be able to connect to the database in such a way that Sentry will authenticate and authorize him? The answer is beeline. So you have to understand how to use beeline to actually connect to Hive databases. So launch beeline now, just to recollect how we can leverage beeline to connect to Hive. And then if you go to the article, I have provided the command which you should be using to connect to the beeline. Sorry, connect to Hive database using beeline. Okay, so you can pick that and you have to make necessary changes as per your environment. Let me also paste it in the Slack chat. Connect to Hive using beeline. Don't use proxy for now because we ran into some issues, right? I don't know whether it is resolved or not. Instead of using proxy, just uh, use uh, the direct Hive server. Have you connected before?
Yeah, I connected
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah. So what you can do is you can actually go to the beeline session. Okay. Anyway, you are typing, so let's go ahead and type it. L is missing. Yeah. Then odd equal to Kerberos. You don't need to provide the realm all the time because you have specified the default realm. So you can directly say semicolon, semicolon. No, there should be no space. Yeah. Odd equal to Kerberos. There is a typo in Kerberos. Kerberos. Yeah, hit enter. Okay, first you have to launch the beeline, then you have to run this command. So copy this command and then launch beeline, and then you can paste this command in beeline. Yeah, now paste it. Hit enter without entering any password. Okay, cannot. Okay, you did not specify the port number. That's why it failed. So
okay,
hit. There is a space before the call.
okay.
Yeah. Do you have retail database in Hive? I don't think you have retail database. Change the retail to default. Yeah. Now I think it is connected. Let's run show databases. but it is saying closed, so I'm not 100% sure. I think it is not connected. Show tables. Oh, it came out actually. It came out of this session. So it is saying Kerberos principal should have 3 ports. Okay, give the realm name also. I think here you have to give the realm name. Launch beeline, hit up arrow, and just add that at clvy.com after internal. Yeah, clvy.com and hit enter. Now it is saying,
Yes, well,
do you have Hive running on Big Data Server 4?
yeah.
Okay, so can you go there to your Cloudera manager? Click on Hive. Okay, go to configuration. Search for thrift port. Yeah, it is 10,000 only. Now let's go there to the terminal. It is saying could not open client transport with JDBC URI, JDBC colon hive 2 colon big data server 4 US East 1 hyphen B dot C dot amazing smile internal 10,000 default principal equal to hive big data server 4 dot US dot US hyphen East 1 hyphen B dot C dot. Okay. So can you connect to kadmin once? You have to say exclamation mark and quit. Yeah. Now kadmin hyphen s kdc hyphen p. Yeah. Shashank Patel slash admin. Yeah. No need to specify that at and all. Just remove that. Yeah. List brings. Okay. Yeah. So exit from here. Run kdestroy command. Kdestroy, not destroy. Destroy. Okay. Now launch kinit once again. Before launching kinit, let's remove that keytab file. rm keytabs retail.keytab. Yeah, and then launch the kadmin once again. Delprink retail delprink retail. Enter. You have to type yes. Okay. Now add prink hyphen rand key retail slash big data server 1 the whole path. Big data server hyphen 1.
I'm just copying the whole path.
Yeah.
Realm name also, right?
Realm name is not mandatory because we have specified it as default realm. You can leave it or you can delete it. It's up to you. So that is the purpose of the default realm in our configuration files with respect to Kerberos. Hit enter. Now you can go back to that kt add command, or you can type kt add. No. You have to generate the KTF file. Kt add -k. No, not T. There is no T here. Only K. Space /home/retail /keytabs /retail.keytab. Space. Give the principal name. Enter. Now exit from here. Knit -k. No. You have to use the KTF file. Knit -k-t. Yeah. /home/retail /keytabs. And then retail.keytab, and you have to give the principal name, which is nothing but Shashank Patel. Sorry, retail / yeah, this is the one. This is correct. Yeah, hit enter. Now launch Beeline. Actually, last time Hive worked, only Beeline did not work. So there is something with respect to Beeline only. So you can go back to the connect command. Just give me a moment, okay? Let me review this command once again. .us-east1-b .c.amazing smile-246417 .internal :10,000 /default principal equal to Hive /big server -4 .us-east1-b .c.amazing smile -246417 .internal @clvy.com or the equal to Kerberos. Yeah, try it now. I don't know why it is failing. Peer indicated failure. Okay, could not open client transport with JDBC URI. Unknown HS2 problem and come. Yeah, try to Google on this unknown HS2 problem when communicating with the Thrift server. Before error, yeah. I think some things are misconfigured. Have you connected with Beeline before at all after enabling the Kerberos?
Yeah, I did that with the auth equal to Kerberos. It worked at that time.
Okay. Scroll down. Scroll down. It looks like launcher is not able to connect to HS2 when this happens. From other hosts, are you able to share the workflow.xml? Do you have Kerberos enabled in the cluster? Okay. Anyway, do one thing. Instead of Big Data Server 4, try to use Big Data Server 3. Because you
Okay.
have high availability configured, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is not working. Something is wrong with your configuration. Okay, I don't know why it is failing. You have to troubleshoot this issue, but we will move on to the other steps. We will not be able to validate using Beeline, but we will try to set up some of the steps, if not everything. So you can exit for now. Okay, we will take care of rest of the steps. So the next step which you need to take care is nothing but disabling the impersonation. Okay, so we need to disable impersonation in Hive server 2 so that Sentry can take care of authentication and authorization of users. If the impersonation is enabled, then the users might be able to access the files directly bypassing the Sentry. To avoid users to bypass Sentry and directly access the files or submit the MapReduce jobs, we need to disable the impersonation. So how to do that? You have to go to the Hive server, go to configuration, okay, search for impersonation. You have to unselect that, the first one, and then you have to save. Don't restart now. We will actually take care of most of these steps and then we will restart in one shot. The next task which you need to take care is to enable the Hive user to submit yarn jobs. Typically it will be enabled, but we'll validate. So you have to go to yarn service, configuration, and then what is the property name? Allowed system users. So search for allowed system users. You can see Hive in this list. So we are good to go. We can move on to the next step. The next step is to block the Hive CLI access. So the way Hive CLI access works is whenever you say Hive, it has to connect to Hive Metastore, and then it will facilitate you to run the commands. So if we block access to Hive Metastore, then users will not be able to access Hive databases, tables, etc. using Hive CLI. So instead of blocking access to Hive Metastore for all the users, we will restrict it to system users which are part of certain system groups and block access to Hive Metastore for all regular users like retail. Okay, so that is the purpose of this, and the way you have to do it is you have to go to Hive service, go to configuration, and then search for hadoop.proxyuser.hive.groups. Proxyuser.hive.groups. Okay, by default it is empty. You can click on this question mark to understand what this default means. It means it actually inherits the property from HDFS. HDFS also have similar property. It is asterisk, which means all the users are allowed to access Hive Metastore. As all the users are allowed to access Hive Metastore, uh, the user retail is able to launch Hive earlier after generating the ticket. Now, to restrict to users belonging to certain system groups, we just have to add those groups here. We need to add Hive, Hue, and Sentry groups. All the users belonging to Hive, Hue, and Sentry should be allowed to access Hive Metastore. Rest of the users should not be allowed to access Hive Metastore. So click on plus here. Add Hive. You can say comma Hue, comma Sentry. And you can actually say save changes. Or you can also click on plus plus and enter separately, but when you add using commas, it will automatically take care of separating into multiple entries like this. Now the next step is you need to enable something called as stored notifications in database. Again, you have to go to the Hive configuration, search for stored notifications. Yeah, you have to enable this. You can click on question mark to understand what it is all about. When you enable this, it will actually send all the metadata change details to notification_log. Sentry requires information in this log. That's why we have to enable this. Only then the Sentry can be configured with Hive. Now search for Sentry here in Hive. Even though Sentry was installed earlier, we haven't configured any services to use Sentry. we are now adding Hive to use Sentry. So select Sentry here, save changes. Okay, go to Hue also because we want to configure Sentry for Hue also. Go to configuration. Okay, there are some log directory issues for your Hue. You have to fix those issues. Search for Sentry here, and you can enable Sentry here. Now you can say save changes. Now you can actually click on the restart still configuration icon, and then click on any of these icons. Make sure to restart the stale services. Scroll down to the bottom and click on that restart stale services button. Say restart now. So it will take care of restarting all the services for you. So even though we are not able to access Hive using Beeline, we are actually taking care of restarting the services. You need to spend some time in troubleshooting the issue of why the Beeline is not working with Kerberos. If you go to the logs with respect to Hive server 2, probably it might give you some information. You can start with that. You can also look into the logs of Kerberos on KDC to see if there is any issue.
Okay.
And also you need to fix the error with respect to Hue. Your log directory seems to be full. You can delete some of the log files to reclaim the space.
Okay, I'll do it.
So others, you can actually follow the article and you can perform these tasks as demonstrated. I have also recorded the videos. Now the videos are being edited by my video editors team. I will be publishing this course to Udemy very soon, where I'll be talking about Kerberos and Sentry quite extensively. I will give you access to that course also. Once the course is published in Udemy, you can use it for your reference. So meanwhile, you can actually go to command line. Okay, and now try to launch Hive. Hive will be launched, but when you run commands like show databases, show tables, etc., it will fail. It will just say connection reset. Because we have blocked access to Hive Metastore, you will not be able to run any commands using CLI. Okay, now exit from here. Run kdestroy to destroy the ticket. And then run knit command once again by going back. And now try to launch Beeline once again after generating the ticket. Go back to that connect command and hit enter.
Server 3, right?
Yeah, let's try once again. I think it should be fine. No, do one more thing. Remove the database name default and try. I don't think it is the issue here. There seems to be some other issue.
What about slash?
You can leave it. Let's try leaving it like that. No. Unknown HS2 problem when communicating with Drift server. Let me see if I am able to resolve this issue. Unknown, what is the error? HS2
Problem when
communicating with Thrift server Cloudera. So for some people, the error goes away after an hour or so on its own. So probably it might go away. Let's try and see if it goes away. Is it also saying could not open client transport with JDBC URI? Yes, I think that is the one which you are getting. Okay, you can do one more thing. Come out of that. Come out of the beeline and run telnet command to big data server -3 or big data server -4 using this complete your complete name. Okay, I'm not
And
sure why.
code,
Just give me a moment, okay? So I'm not able to see the bottom part of your screen because the footer is coming in my way. Let me see. Yeah, it is better. Yeah, it is better. You can increase the size of it, leaving last 2-3 inches. Yeah, thank you. This is better. Yeah, now you can say 10,000, telnet 10,000.
just a second.
It is telnetting. Okay. Uh, why it is failing? I have been using this for quite some time. I never ran into this issue. Okay, do one thing. Go to big data. I don't think. Uh, okay. Okay. For now, what you do is go to Hue, go to the browser, to the Cloudera Manager, click on Finish, click on Hue. Okay, Hue is also down. It seems. Is it down or is it up and running?
It's up
I
and
think.
it's up,
Yeah.
but log
Yeah.
directory.
Yeah. I understand. So click on Hue here after audits before quick links.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to
Open the
add
port
actually.
88. Yeah.
Just a second. I will go with that.
You can open the port. What you are trying to do?
Mm,
No, no, no. You have to open the port.
here is running. It was
Okay,
just
okay.
actually.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So, have you logged in before or is this the first time?
I have logged in before.
Okay. What is the tool you are using for passwords?
LastPass.
Okay. Okay. So now what you are supposed to do is you can go to admin. So we have to create users. Okay. There is one more issue here. I have to create the role and then grant permissions to that role, and I have to grant that role to the user. Then only I will be able to access the tables using Hive now. So we have to wait until that issue is resolved. So try to troubleshoot that issue and see if it goes off. Then you can actually proceed with the rest of the content. So let me share my screen now.
Okay.
Krishna, I have shared one document. Could you please
Yeah,
check?
I've noticed it. I will look into it.
Yeah, you
And
can look it after the session. We are already past 1 hour,
thank you,
so
Sunil.
yeah. Okay, so let me go through the documentation here. Okay, and let me tell you what you are supposed to do after the issue is resolved. So you have to create the role like this. First, what I have done is, instead of using the retail user, I have created another user called as sadmin. This user will be the Sentry admin. Okay, so similar to retail, I have created the rand key principal using rand key, and also I have created the keytab file for this user admin after creating this user on all the hosts. So this is the user who will act as Sentry admin, who will have access to all the features with respect to Sentry, such as creating the roles, creating the or granting the permissions to the roles, and then assigning the roles to the users, etc. So using Sentry admin, going forward, we'll be creating the roles and granting the permissions and assigning the roles. So after creating the Sentry admin, I have connected to Beeline. I have created the role admin. Okay, and then I have said grant all on server 1 to role admin. So the server 1 is nothing but Hive server 2. So wherever Hive server 2 is running, Sentry will connect to that Hive server using this information, and then it will actually take care of whatever you are trying to do. So this is nothing but a alias to the Hive server. It is part of a property within Sentry. So let me show you here. If I search for server 1 in configuration, you can see the property. I think the property name is nothing but Hive Sentry server. It is other way around. So you have to go to Hive and you have to search for Hive Sentry server. It is named as server 1, but internally that will be mapped to whatever value uh, uh, that it should be using. So it is nothing but alias for the Hive service. Okay, it does not correspond to any physical server name, uh, but so which means the server 1 is not a physical server. It is mapped to some physical server internally on which Hive service is running. Okay, so that's why we are saying grant all on server 1, which means whatever is being done using this Hive service, uh, on all those things, this role have permissions. The role name is nothing but admin. Once we grant the permissions, I have added that role to, or assigned that role to user admin. So admin is the super admin from the Sentry perspective. He can not only create roles, he can not only assign those roles to users and also grant permissions to those roles. He can also perform operations such as creating the databases, creating tables, etc. So first we have created this admin user and uh, granted the permissions to that user. Unless you grant these permissions, even admin cannot do anything. Okay. Once you create this admin, um, by logging in as the admin, first you have to create the roles for the Hive databases, and then you have to take it further. So after doing this, what you are supposed to do is you have to add account for that user in Hive also. Okay, and to actually grant access on the retail database to user retail, we have to first create database by name retail db using admin as user. Then we have to create a role by name retail admin, and then we can actually grant all permissions on retail db database to retail admin. Okay, so here we are trying to achieve the functional permissions and roles to the functional users, not the system users. Admin is a kind of a system user which have all the access with respect to Sentry tasks. Retail is the user who have only the admin access to retail database. He cannot manage anything else. He should be able to create the tables in the retail database. He should be able to drop the tables in retail database, truncate the tables in retail database, insert data or load data into the tables in retail database, query the data from the retail database or tables in the retail database, but he will not be able to touch any other database. So here what we are trying to do, first we have created the retail DB database, then created a role by name retail admin. All the permissions on this retail DB is assigned to retail admin or granted to retail admin, and then the role retail admin is assigned to user retail, which means now retail will act as a retail admin who have access to all aspects of the retail DB. This is how we typically take care of authentication and authorization on Hive tables using Sentry. Once Sentry is configured, we should be able to take care of these things. Without Sentry, it is not possible to do so. As you have Hive editor as part of the web interface, once the appropriate users with appropriate roles are created, that user should be able to run all the Hive queries without any issue. Okay. So first you have to fix the issue with respect to connecting to Beeline, because to create roles and all you have to use Beeline only. Or yeah, at least for the first user you have to have Beeline. After that, once you create the sadmin user or Sentry admin user, you should be able to use Hue and take it further. With Hive editor, you can actually take care whatever you want. Okay. So that being said, that's it for today. If you have any questions after going through these instructions, let me know. I will try to clarify those questions. But make sure you go through the steps and take care of configuring Sentry on the Kerberized cluster and take it further. If you have a non-Kerberized cluster and if you want to just understand Sentry a bit in detail, you can actually configure Sentry in testing mode, for which Kerberos is not required. You should be able to validate all the features of Sentry except for the Kerberos, and it is only testing mode. In production, typically we use Kerberos and then we add Sentry on top of the Kerberized cluster only. We do not enable Sentry without Kerberos, because Kerberos is the one which takes care of authentication and authorization. On top of this, Sentry add some features to control access or to restrict the access on Hive databases by using the concepts of ACLs on top of Kerberos. Without Kerberos, Sentry doesn't work in true production environment. Easily people can hack if you just open in testing mode and try to use Sentry in testing mode in production, which is not recommended. Okay, so go through these steps, try to configure. If you run into any issues, try to troubleshoot, and also ping in the Slack channel. I will try to get back to you with the solution, and then we will take it further. Make sure there are no typos anywhere. If you have typos, it will be a nightmare to troubleshoot. Make sure you double check everywhere and confirm that there are no typos before going to the next step. Okay, so that being said, we'll catch up tomorrow and we'll continue further. Bye. I'm stopping the live stream.